Hello friends, welcome back to Technique. Today we'll be doing the detailed camera review of the newly launched Oppo Reno 11. So Oppo launched two devices under the Reno 11 series, the Oppo Reno 11 and the Oppo Reno 11 Pro. Now we have the Oppo Reno 11, the base variant. So let's do a detailed camera review of this device. It also comes with a portrait telephoto lens. So let's see how good the experience is on this device. So before that, if this is your first time on this channel, do hit that subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to get notified of all the videos we publish. So let's now start with the camera hardware. So first step, let's have a look at the primary camera. So this device comes with a 50 megapixel Sony Light 600 sensor with f1.8 aperture plus optical image stabilization. It has a 26mm focal length. Now there is also a 32 megapixel portrait camera which is a Sony IMX709 sensor with f2.0 aperture and 47mm focal length. Now the third camera is an ultra wide angle camera. It's an 8 megapixel shooter with Sony IMX355 sensor and again with f2.2 aperture and 112-degree field of view. Now the selfie camera is a 32 megapixel shooter with f2.2 aperture. So let's see how good the camera experience is on this device. So let's first have a look at the daylight captures. So in terms of daylight conditions, you can see here there is plenty of detail on offer. The colors are more or less natural looking and there isn't any saturation issues as well. And the overall dynamic range also looks good. And even if you look at the sharpness levels of the images, you can see that there is plenty of sharpness levels and it's pretty good in terms of detailing. The colors are mostly natural looking. That's one good thing Oppo has done really well, and also the dynamic range looks pretty good. So overall in terms of daylight conditions, we are pretty happy with what Oppo is offering with the Sony sensor. The details are good and the sharpness levels are also pretty good. So overall we are pretty happy with the daylight captures. Now this phone also can do 2x photos with the telephoto lens, the 32 megapixel telephoto lens. Once again it does pretty good job. There is good colors, good sharpness levels, and the details also looks pretty good. So once again you can shoot 2x with the telephoto lens. Now if you look at the ultra wide angle camera, this is just an 8 megapixel shooter and it has limitations. While the colors are good and the dynamic range also looks good, which is similar to the primary camera, the sharpness levels and the details are not that great, primarily because of it's an 8 megapixel shooter. Now next let's move on to the close-up shots. Once again the primary camera offers plenty of details. You can see the natural bokeh effect and also the colors are pretty much natural, and overall the detailing and sharpness levels looks pretty impressive on this device. So once again it produces really good images, but it does miss out on the macro lens which is found on many cameras in this price segment. Now moving on to the portraits, you can do 1x and 2x portraits using the primary as well as the telephoto lens, and the portraits are come really good. You can see the edge detection is spot on and the background blur looks really good and stunning. So portrait is one of the good abilities of this device, and both the 1x and 2x portraits looks pretty good, and the edge detection and the dynamic range, everything looks really good. So portraits are one of the strength of this camera. Now next let's move on to the low light. In indoor light and artificial light condition, it produces pretty good results. You can see here there is good dynamic range and also good sharpness levels too. But when light drops further in extreme low light condition, while the details are good, the sharpness levels is not that great. You can clearly see that the images have become a bit too soft for our liking. There should have been a bit more sharpness levels in the images, and dynamic range looks decent enough for the night mode. But overall we feel the low light captures could have been better, especially with the Sony Light sensor and optical image stabilization is included. It could have been a tad better overall in terms of processing. Now moving on to the selfie, this is one area we like the phone. The 32 megapixel selfie camera looks pretty good. It's wide, there is good amount of details, the facial tones are good, the dynamic range is good, overall color quality looks really impressive. Again, selfies are more of a personal choice, so you can judge based on the images. The portrait selfies also came out pretty good with good edge detection offered. Now moving on to the video recording, this device can record 4K 30 fps and the video sample with 4K shooting looks way too saturated in terms of color reproduction. You can see here the tones are not really natural, it's way too saturated. This could have been fixed better. The stabilization is decent enough, even though OIS is there, it's not that great. Now the 1080p footage also has a decent stabilization. Once again, it's not the most stable footage out there, but here the colors are much better and looks pretty good as well. Now we tried taking a 2x video using the telephoto telephoto lens, but unfortunately you can't shoot videos using the telephoto lens. Only photos can be taken. This is just the 50 megapixel primary camera which is used in 2x mode. Now it also comes with ultra wide angle camera, once again decent looking ultra wide camera. This is again at 1080p resolution with the 8 megapixel shooter. So that's the video quality of the Oppo Reno 11. So this is the front facing camera sample taken using the Oppo Reno 11. So this can record videos in 4K 30 FPS, which is again pretty good. So you can judge yourself how good the clarity of the videos and also the audio output. So that was a detailed review of the Oppo Reno 11 5G. So summing up, the primary camera does a really good job in terms of details, the sharpness levels, the colors are really spot on, there is plenty of details, and dynamic range also looks good. The telephoto lens also is pretty good, especially in 2x photos, and even portraits looks pretty good with a 2x telephoto lens. Now the 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera is a decent shooter. I would say it's not a great experience, especially with the amount of details it can offer. It's kind of very much average. There is also no macro photography, and the low light experience turned out to be pretty good in well lit condition, but in extreme low light we see that the sharpness levels are not that good. It's quite okay in terms of details, but sharpness could be better. This probably a fine tuning would be needed to make it better, and selfies turned out to be pretty good overall. Now the video recording was kind of average, I would say, nothing great, because even with OIS and EIS the footage was not really that stabilized, and 4K sample was way too saturated. So that was the detailed camera experience of the Oppo Reno 11. So as a whole, we would say in terms of photography experience, it's more or less a pretty good experience, except for the low light where you need a bit more fine tuning, but otherwise it's a quite good shooter for photography, especially for portraits and selfies. Along with that, you can also shoot some really good daylight conditions. So that was my experience. So what do you guys think about the cameras on the Oppo Reno 11? Do let us know your thoughts in the comment section. This is Normal signing off. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.